Welcome to Total Retail Talks, your podcast channel for retail knowledge.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Total Retail Talks. I'm Joe Keenan, the editor-in-chief of Total Retail. I'm excited to be joined on today's episode by Jim Corso. Jim is the director of real estate at James Avery Artisan Jewelry. We're going to be talking to Jim about the new store concept and kind of the experience-led retail innovation that is happening with that jewelry brand. So we're going to be talking through some of the exciting things that are happening in the brick and mortar space with James Avery. So Jim, I thank you for joining me, and I'm excited to talk.
Same. Appreciate you having me.
So just to get us started, most in the audience, I think, are probably pretty familiar with James Avery. But for those that aren't, maybe you can give just a brief overview of the business.
Sure. We're a jeweler retailer in Texas, primarily. We specialize in silver, mostly products. We have 150 or so brick and mortar locations. We also have wholesale accounts with Von Maur and Dillard's. We were established in 1954 and have been operating in Texas ever since. We have about 1,500 to 2,000 artisans that work with us in the Texas Hill Country, making the product by hand from scratch. So pretty unique from a retail perspective.
And tell me a little bit personally about your role within the organization, kind of your tenure at James Avery.
Sure. Yeah. Me and my department handle site selections of new stores primarily, and then also the architecture for the stores. So the design of the store, the design of the fixtures, which is obviously an important part in a jewelry company. So those are the two different kind of departments I juggle. It's super fun.
So I want to talk about the new store location and kind of this new concept that James Avery is rolling out. It's kind of this expression of the next generation in-store strategy that the company is kind of embarking upon. Tell me a little bit about the catalyst for rethinking the store experience and kind of what you wanted to change about how customers engage with the brand in person.
Sure. Yeah. I think the catalyst was knowing that we have an ever evolving retail environment and also having the clear understanding that physical stores can provide unique, services, discovery, personalization opportunities, and just bolster the trust of our customers. Our guests are being pulled like everybody else in 2026 and beyond, I'm sure, in so many different directions, both in retail in general and just in our own personal lives. We know that. And so given that, just creating a place for a guest to see a piece up close in person, try it on, ask our retail associates questions, maybe personalize those pieces because that's a big piece of our business, and have confidence in what they're choosing.
And particularly in your product category, this is a high ticket item. This is something that's a kind of sentimental value jewelry. A lot of times it's kind of an emotional purchase too. So kind of having that engaging experience in store is going to be critical, particularly in the jewelry category.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. So we've done a lot of things to hopefully bolster that. We've added large scale digital screens to help tell our story. We have screens in our previous build out, but they're smaller. These digital screens have been pushed out onto the sales floor. They're about 3.5 feet by 6.5 feet, just so you understand what scale we're dealing with. And they're also pushed down at the customer level. So hopefully that both shows product on our models, like when that digital screen is rolling, seeing our models have jewelry on kind of creates a unique experience, and it helps also our retail store associates introduce new collections and explain personalization options, those kind of things.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about personalization. That's a great example of how you're kind of bridging that offline and online experience in the physical stores. You noted at the outset when you gave an overview of the James Avery business that the company has kind of deep roots in Texas, particularly the Texas Hill Country, and you have this loyal multi-generational customer base. So as you think about those customers that have come back to James Avery again and again, how do you ensure that this new store concept is an evolution of the brand without, losing or abandoning kind of the core values and roots of the organization?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. We certainly didn't want to do that. We've been in business since 1954, like I said earlier. So if anything, we wanted to just capitalize on what that brand, what our brand has done in the past and just push it forward. We still want to have the same most emotional connections that our brand has always given our guests, the same level of craftsmanship, the same sense of place, those kind of items. But when we were originally designing the store, this new design, we were really just talking to ourselves, how do we make it even feel more James Avery than our customers are even used to? When we were doing that, we kind of went to the past. I mean, a lot of retailers don't have the legacy that our brand has. I mean, we wanted to leverage that. So we looked in some of our old build outs, our old designs back in the 60s and 70s, 80s and 90s. And then we also wanted to kind of just look at what's on trend, yes, but also what's kind of the aesthetic of the Texas Hill Country where we're rooted in. So heavy wood, stone items, heavy texture, saturated colors, kind of expounding on that. When you go into our new store footprint, which is really exciting, it opened up a couple weeks ago, but you go in and some examples of that heritage. Right when you walk in, you have a bronze plate that's inset in the floor. It's hand forged and it says established 1954, and it just really, again, leveraging that history we have in Texas. We have handmade tiles that surround that, kind of go along the floor and up the sides of the wall, and this pseudo kind of reverse waterfall effect. And you look forward at the store, we have handmade blown glass pendant lights that hang down through a solid wooden truss system. We have heavy textured walls that showing that artisan nature, and then split face limestone elements throughout the store, behind POS and in front of POS. So all those kind of little elements are really pulled in, bolstering the legacy and kind of the surrounding area of the Texas Hill Country where we're rooted in. And then also Mr. Avery, James Avery, was a woodworker by trade also, as much as he was a silversmith. So it really gave us a unique opportunity to redesign our fixtures to show that, both because, yes, he was a woodworker, so we thought that'd be a great opportunity for us, but also because of our product, given what we're selling lives in cases, we really wanted to take a long look at how we designed our fixtures. It was about a 2-year process. So significant. All of our stuff is designed in-house. We're not outsourcing this. We're not ordering it out of a catalog. Nothing's laminate or veneered. This is solid product. So those fixtures on top of the craftsman architecture that went into the overall store design are in the fixtures as well. So doweling in the cases, dovetail joinery, complex angles, solid wood pieces, something that maybe a craftsman could go into our store and appreciate. I'm hoping that Mr. Avery would appreciate it as well. So those are the kind of things we worked on.
Sounds like Mr. Avery was quite a talented man, a silversmith and a woodworker. He's
That's
got
right.
a lot of skill using his hands, right?
Yep, that's right.
So just to kind of give the audience a sense of the scale, this new location that we were talking about, that's in the Texas Hill Country, correct?
Correct. That's right. In Schertz, Texas specifically. Yep.
Okay. And then how about, is the company looking at retrofitting existing stores or thinking about future builds as well? Maybe just an idea of scale.
Yeah, we're certainly growing. As a company, just generally speaking, we're growing and expanding. So our Schertz, Texas location, just north of San Antonio, northeast of San Antonio, it's located along the I-35 corridor that links Austin and San Antonio together. I mean, we methodically placed it there for that reason, just a high growth area. It's also only about an hour and a half away from our corporate headquarters in Kerrville, Texas. So we could, at least when we were applying this new footprint to it, this new concept to it, we could go back and forth and look at how the build out was going. The store's been open for a couple of weeks now, so it's also given us the opportunity to easily go down, talk to our store manager, talk to our sales associates, and see how it's resonating with our guests. We might want to tweak some stuff here and there. We're not sure. We don't think we will. It's been really well received so far, but we're applying that build out to all of our new stores going forward. We do about 10 new stores year over year. We're methodically growing. Certainly, we're not, governed by having some type of X amount of stores per year. We certainly love the state of Texas. It's our roots. We're doing stores in Texas, like I said, about 10 year over year, but we're also growing outside of the state of Texas as well. We have stores coming up after shirts. We have a store coming up in Forney, Texas, which is East Dallas. We have a store in Brownwood, Texas, which is kind of north central Texas. We're also remodeling. So we're taking this new store build and applying it to our remodel campaigns as well. So this is not just a one-off pathfinding type of thing. All of our stores going forward will have this applied to it, and also remodeled stores that are already in operations today. So in San Marcos, Texas, which is also in Central Texas, just south of Austin, it's the home of Texas State University. We have a very successful store there. We're remodeling that store, pretty much gutting it and applying this new build out. We also have a store opening up in Sarasota, Florida at University Town Center that we're super excited about. So like I said, yes, Texas is our home, but we're also growing more nationally. We have that store currently under construction. In fact, all the ones I just mentioned to you are opening up this summer. So that talks about the amount of stores we're bringing online. But we opened up stores in Phoenix in the past year, in Knoxville, Tennessee, and Arkansas, in the Fayetteville, Rogers area. We have some stores in Oklahoma and Georgia and Louisiana. So we're certainly growing.
Yeah. So, expanding that reach outside of your Texas roots.
Yes.
Let's talk about kind of the experience within the four walls of those stores that you've kind of called out.
Sure.
You mentioned kind of the critical importance of obviously service in a high touch category such as jewelry. Some of the things you're doing to personalize that shopping experience. So with that in mind, talk a little bit about the store associate, how they're being equipped to improve the experience or maybe empower the consumer differently in this format compared to maybe previous locations.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, our sales associates are our secret sauce. I mean, we really rely on them to help sell our product. So taking that in with as far as how it relates to our architecture in our new space, we really wanted to open up the floor plan slightly. If you really dive down into it, we wanted to add a little bit more capacity on our demising walls, on our walls itself, not a bunch more, but some more to free up the floor, to make it a little bit more open. We're certainly busy certain times of the year, the holiday, the summer. So we really wanted to give a better space for interaction between our sales associates and our customers, and just our customers in general, just having a more open space. So that's one item. We also have a product care area, which is pretty unique to James Avery. That product care area is in the past kind of shoved off or hidden into the back of our back of house areas that's not customer facing. The things we do in that product care area are puck welding and pen finishing, polishing, miscellaneous repairs. All those things happen in our actual retail environment, which I think is very unique from a retail perspective, at least a jewelry retail perspective. And we really wanted to push that product care area forward to be a little bit more customer facing so that our sales associates can reference that. When somebody comes into our store, a customer can see those people working on their products, on their pieces. They're not going to see it right up close necessarily, but they are going to see people back there. So the sales associates can reference that, saying, hey, look, here's your product. They're welding it onto your charm bracelet, or, hey, you have a repair, they're repairing it here. Hey, we offer free cleanings. Hey, this can be done in store. So that's a pretty unique thing that we wanted to really press in the new store concept. I think I said it earlier, but storytelling events through the use of our digital screens to help our sales associates sell. I mean, we certainly don't want those kind of new technology items like large scale digital screens to replace our sales associates. That's not the intention, but it's really just to give them a better environment to do what they do best. Listen, guide, help our guests make the right purchases for the right moments in their life.
Let's take a step back and think about, we've talked about kind of these design changes, this new concept. How is kind of the evolving consumer behavior, what you're seeing and hearing from your customers, how's that impacted kind of the direction you've gone with this new store concept?
Yeah, I mean, given that it's jewelry, it's such a high touch item. They want to go and experience in person. They want to feel the weight of the piece on their wrist or around their neck. They want to see how it looks on, talk through details like engraving. We have engraving opportunities, specific charm placement. The charm business is one of our key points in our business, or just gifting opportunities. We're a high gift retailer. We do have an online channel. We have a website. It's very robust. People can shop that way, direct to consumer. But a lot of times what we've seen is that, like maybe a lot of people, they might go on the website, cultivate kind of a small skew of something they want to see, and then they go into our retail stores to look at it in person. We acknowledge that, we know it, and because of that, we want to give them that same type of environment that they expect. We really want the craftsmanship to show in our stores the same way it shows on our online channel, etc. By making a discovery easier in our store, we want to reward them effectively for going in our store and shopping there and talking to our sales associates, giving them better storytelling opportunities, more personalization moments, etc.
So as we think about the broader store portfolio at James Avery, um, this new concept, what does it kind of signal about where you're heading from a growth and expansion standpoint? I know you've talked about expanding the brand outside of Texas. There's obviously deep roots in Texas with the kind of a concentration of physical stores in that state, but talk a little bit about where you're thinking about heading next and why, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Texas is our bread and butter. It's our home. It's our roots. We don't see just the metros. So if you're just talking about growth, we don't see just the metros as where we want to be. We really focus in on those places. We have plenty of locations in those. We want to expand as Texas. We've been blessed with Texas being a high growth area. So we certainly will expand in those areas, but we really want to touch the secondary markets in Texas too. Like I said, Brownwood is a relatively small community. We're going there. We're in places like Pleasanton, Lufkin, Tyler, Deep South Texas. All those places are areas we really want to touch with our brand because we have such a connection with our Texas customers. But as we grow, we want to go outside the state of Texas. And like I said, we're kind of touching a little bit more in the Southeast where we feel like we might resonate a little bit more. But we probably want to expand a little bit from Texas out. So Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, New Mexico, some of those places are what we're looking at. We've opened up stores, like I said, in the last year in Phoenix. We're opening up one in Florida. We're super excited to see how those do long term. We should be opening in Florida in July, this summer, and hopefully they're successful. And we'd love to do more and extend our brand throughout at least the Southeast.
How do you see an impact on the digital business as you grow stores and open stores in physical locations? Does it kind of get that halo effect in terms of the digital business as well?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I think they work in tandem. At least we see that in our Texas locations. It only helps our brick and mortars, really. I mean, like I said, a lot of times people will go on there. That might be their first introduction to the brand. But I think once they see and get educated on our brand, they want to go visit our retail stores. So we don't see like one cannibalizing the other. We really see them work in tandem. One helps the other, and vice versa. Lots of times too is, if we're in Phoenix, Arizona, they might casually run into one of our stores at Arrowhead Mall or Chandler Fashion Center, and they might look at us, maybe not purchase directly, but then might go back and look online and see what we're more about.
Yeah, complementary and not
Yeah,
competition between the two channels, right?
for
So,
sure. For sure.
so I'll wrap up with this for you, Jim. As a brand, a 70-plus-year-old brand, so a legacy retailer here, I'm interested to get your perspective, maybe any insights or advice you might have for those in the audience that are kind of thinking about modernizing their brand, particularly their physical presence, their physical stores, without kind of losing what makes them special. You've talked about kind of the deep roots you have in the Hill Country, across the state, really. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think when you think about it, when you look at it, if you have a legacy brand like James Avery, I think the thing you got to grapple with is that you don't want to choose between your heritage, your legacy, and being relevant. I think the challenge is finding the right way to express your heritage, your legacy, for people how they shop today in today's environment. For us, that meant, like I said, like a more open store plan, really leveraging our craftsmanship that we feel is unique to our particular jewelry band and leveraging that in our in-store experience. Like I said, stronger storytelling, more personalization, and just an overall contemporary design that feels connected to the Texas Hill Country where our roots are.
And that emphasis on the human in the store as well, right? You rolled out some
Absolutely.
of these enhancements, but it's about that personal relationship with another
For
human
sure.
being too.
Like I said, our store associates are our secret sauce.
Great. Well, I want to take the opportunity to thank Jim Corso. Jim, again, is the director of real estate at James Avery Artisan Jewelry, for joining us on this episode of Total Retail Talks. Jim, I really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you.
Same, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening. For more information on this podcast, please go to mytotalretail.com/podcast for show notes. Total Retail Talks is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, SiriusXM's Pandora, YouTube, and YouTube Music. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a few moments to rate, review, and subscribe. Thanks, and until next time, this has been Total Retail Talks.